Coach, obviously the big question on the offense heading into the season is your group, the offensive line. A lot of untested guys there. Do you foresee being able to find those 7 or 8 guys?
We do. I think we had a good spring, and starting there. Of course, obviously, I met with our strength staff this morning and find out, because I've been gone on vacation a couple of weeks, and want to find out. And they, I love it when they got nothing but good things to say about how hard they're working. But I talked with Coach Morris this morning. I feel like we can get 7 or 8 guys that we can go to battle with, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Who do you see those 7 or 8 being?
Well, I'm anxious to see. We'll know quickly when we get on the field, but we got Brandon Thomas, and of course Dalton Freeman, Tyler Shatley, Gifford Timothy, Joe Gore, Kalen Davis. Shaq Anthony has improved. Did I mention Reed Webster? I hate naming names because you always leave somebody out, but Ryan Norton, Jay Guillermo, Patrick DeStefano. Those are guys that I know are working hard. Spencer Region, he's lost a lot of weight. He's making progress there. But those are guys that I know. O.J. Jones, he's, several of the guys in my group, missed a year of football. I'm sure you're all aware O.J. missed his junior year. So, coming in here as in December, he's got a lot of catching up to do. We getting weight off, putting weight back on in the right way, getting him in shape, getting his flexibility back, and Kalen Davis. I think he's got an opportunity to be a very good player for us. But for example, he spent his whole freshman year in the training room injured. This summer's the first time in probably a year and a half he's done a squat or power clean. So, that tells you, he's going to make tremendous progress. And I foresee him doing big things for us. Tyler Shatley coming over from the defense. Oh my goodness, he just brings a toughness and an attitude. And he's been on the field, even though this will be Greek to him. By that I mean like learning a foreign language now. Okay, but he's, he was a little bit worried about it when he first came over, and of course, it didn't take long to put him at ease because he's very, very sharp young man. Academics and football don't always go hand in hand, but in his case it does. He's studying to be an engineer. He understands leverage, angles, concepts, so that part was pretty easy for him. Probably made less, not probably, made less mistakes in a first-time player learning the system than I've ever had, 30-something years. So that tells you how hungry he was, how important it was for him to, catch it. He wants to earn his way. And then we had another young man that the defense gave us back in November, Joe Gore, who also had a knee injury. Didn't get to do anything till November, so he's behind in that realm of things. But really, I see great things for him if he continues. He's a tremendous athlete. He's tough. He's physical. A very mobile guy. Once he learns, I'm not so sure he couldn't play both sides. I usually ask him to play 2 positions, but you got to get one under your belt first. And that's kind of like Brandon Thomas. He played guard last year after David Smith got hurt, so he had to move in there. Just when he begins to get a little bit comfortable, our tackle gets hurt, so he's got to move out there. So he had played tight end in the past, doing what they needed done, and so we left him at tackle this spring, and he really got comfortable. I think he's got an opportunity to be a very good left tackle. Athletically, there's no doubt. he can. Now, we all trying to grow and become a more physical player. By that I mean, finish people. I got asked a question earlier, what does nasty mean? Doesn't mean breaking the rules. We never talk about that. But it means blocking your man till the whistle blows. That takes great effort, great attitude, and it's something that we're learning. My term I've always used for years and years is simply get your man. You get your man, everybody gets their man, we're going to be in great shape. So that's kind of what that means.
You mentioned your region had lost some weight. He's come a long way.
He has.
Where he is.
Well, I didn't see this morning, but when I left, he was in the 350s.
Okay.
And he looked pretty good at a distance this morning. He got away before I was on the treadmill before I could get a hold of him. They were outside running, and we can't go out there and all that stuff. So, but when he came in, he had a big smile on his face, so the scale must have went down. I saw him get on it. But, and he's one that in the recruiting process, he'd hurt his knee and enjoyed the recruiting and visiting and really swelled up in a bad way. And so we having to go down and come back. But he's working at it. He's got a good attitude about it.
Robbie, how hungry have these guys been in the off season? I mean, sometimes it's tough after winning a conference championship to get the guys refocused that there's even more out there and you got to work just as hard, even if you want to repeat.
Well, I think this group saw last year they had some very good seniors as far as leadership goes and how hard they worked to try to get us to that position, and they enjoyed it. They enjoyed the experience they had, and they want to get back there, so that's been the motivation for them. Now that leadership's gone. A whole new process, other than Dalton, had to step forward. Brandon is a very good leader, but what he's had to learn to do is talk. I didn't know if he could even speak the first semester I had it. I didn't know because he never says a word. And so him stepping forward, and taking that leadership role, and he's just going to be a junior. So some people blossom, late in life, some early. So I'm excited about the group. I've always been an underdog, and I like that. And I like scratching and clawing and working your way back to the top. So that'll be a lot of fun.
What do you feel like is the biggest challenge this group faces, only bringing 2 stars back from last year?
Consistency. I think we have some talented guys. Athletically, we could be better than the group last year, and we will be better. That's not a slight on anyone. That's just facts. Joe Gore brings an athletic ability. Isaiah Battle, who's a young kid that, we're not putting any pressure on him. There's a ways to go because he never played much football. But I tell you right now, if you want to see athletic ability, just throw a ball out there on that basketball court and watch them go. I mean, they can do some things where being an athlete. So, but that doesn't make you a football player, particularly in the offensive line, because there's mouth-to-mouth contact all the time. And I can make you run, I can make you lift weights, but I can't make you enjoy contact. And that's what we got to do.
Who enjoys contact the most?
Well, that's a good question. A lot of those younger ones, the reason I always like contact, I hated running. So I'd much rather get in there and hit than have to do all that running. So I got quite a few like that right now. But this whole group, I love the things Coach Sweeney does with 3-on-3, at the beginning of practice. None of them have backed away, and I've been very impressed with that. And usually, all freshmen are a little bit skeptical about getting in there with those older guys. But this group, hey, they've accepted the challenge. I think they'll all hit you.
Are you wedded to Thomas at tackle rather than guard?
Am I what now?
Wedded to to Brandon and tackle instead of guard because you don't want to start the season with an inexperienced left tackle?
No, I just think he's built for that. I think he's better at tackle probably than better built for tackle than guard.
Really?
He's
Seems to be-
athletic ability. Well, you know, a lot of people, they overrate that height. You know, it's arm length, which usually goes hand in hand, but I mean, you know, until people started writing about it, a lot of people didn't even know it. You just had an old fat plugger over at left tackle. Then they started writing about it and all this stuff, but it's kind of according to what you do.
The other thing I wonder is with the tweaks that Chad's made to his scheme, is this going to give your guys, particularly the inexperienced guys, younger guys, a better chance to move some people and not have to think a lot? It would happen quicker.
That's a good question. I think so. It's just put a different wrinkle. Let's put it that way. It's still pretty much the same, but it's going to be fun. Like last year's group, you know, even though they were seniors, they were used to doing this system, and all of a sudden you drop a new one on them, and you know, all football's relative, but it's a little different, and you got a, you know, some 5-year guys there who've been used to doing it this way, and all of a sudden new coaches come in and they're doing it a little bit different. So it was a learning curve there, you know, and sometimes maybe people might have been a little hard on them for not understanding this or that, but it was entirely new to them. So
So is that a yes, no, or maybe?
well, I think I don't really think it's changed much. I love the system. You know, we're not really doing that much different up front.
Yeah.
You know, we're just doing some different things. Yes, as far as getting pulled on linebackers a little more, I think that will help. Maybe let us spend a little bit more time on a combo block before we have to come off to a linebacker. So, yes, I think it's going to help.
Coach, how much emphasis during the offseason was put on a bit more middle strain on the linemen, I guess, making them tougher? Was that a big
Well, you know, we do that every year. It was very important doing some of those things this year because they're all green. If you had all seniors, you know, sometimes you worry about contact. You err towards caution, not getting them hurt versus, you know, toughen them up. And, you know, I've been down that road, short numbers in the years past, few numbers. You know, only got a few good players, and you don't have contact, and then but you don't get ready to play. You know, it's kind of the old saying, "Go damned if you do, damned if you don't." But you know, our main goal when we start out, our first goal is to develop a toughness each year, no matter where you've been there or not, because every year it's got to start over, and you got to help that guy beside you. You may have a new guy beside you. And so we need the older ones to set the example. And that's the thing Tyler Shatley brought over naturally, because he's been playing in the defensive line. He's used to contact. He's taken on the double team. And now, by George, he wants to give them some of it. And it made everybody tougher, even our experienced guys, right off the bat, watching him come over. And, you know, it's a mindset for him.
Obviously, a guy like Gifford Timothy has some big shoes to fill with Landon Walker gone. How do you feel like he's progressed in the spring and summer?
Very well. You know, most of his is just confidence. I think he has the ability, and I think he knows that. We see spurts of it. Now, just consistency, as we talked about earlier. I'm really excited about Gifford. I really think, you know, he's a student of the game. He's going to know what to do. Better not tell him wrong, because he's going to do just what you teach him to do. And, you know, he's never done a lot of pass blocking, so that's unusual this day and time. years ago, everybody could run block. You had to teach pass block. Now, it's the other way around. Not a whole lot of run blocking. It's all pass blocking. And that's where the element, that toughness, has to come back, as you mentioned. We have to put a point of emphasis on that because, now they spread the field and sling it around, and then, what are you going to do when it gets short yardage or goal line? That's when it's tough.
In your experience, Dalton Freeman as a center and or just an offensive lineman in general, how does he rank in your esteem?
Well, mentally, attitude and all has just been extraordinary. Compared with any I've ever had, is good or better. One of our goals was for Dalton to put on a little weight and become a little more aggressive. And he worked on that this spring, got better at it. Dalton could have an opportunity to make a lot of money one day because athletically, mentally, he can do very good things on at the next level. But he struggled putting on weight, and it's funny, his mom got after him about it as well. But eating's just not something he enjoys. I don't know. That's amazing for an offensive lineman, but I think he will. He's probably about 285. Got sick a little yesterday. I'm just hoping he doesn't drop, but he's just everything you could ask of an individual. I really believe that.
Ideally, where would you like it? 3?
I'd like to see him 295 to 300 pounds, and I think that will help him mentally as well. But Dalton can pull. In practice this year, I want to work him at some other positions just to help him on at the next level, and he's done that. But I've always tried to do that with everybody I've ever coached. And particularly when you get to the point where you see he's probably going to go to the next level. You don't want him to go there unprepared. So I've been pulling him. I've been doing things with him. He could step over and play guard right now. Not so sure he might not could play tackle. Mentally, he can handle it. He's a guy you can throw a playbook at, and in 2 days he'll have it. I've had some not make it because of that. They couldn't learn it that quickly, couldn't grasp it. And that's the difficult part. I've had some, they brought me their playbook and I converted it into the language we were using when he played, and boom, he gets it. But, those guys up there, they got 8 hours a day to fill, so they got to have.
Can't you offer some advice to Dalton when it comes to eating?
Oh, yeah, I'll tell you, I'm an expert at that, but that's one good thing I'm good at. But, it's probably a good problem to have because he won't, later in life it won't be such an effect on him. But he's ideal. I give Dalton what I want done, and I can turn my back, and I know he'll see it through. So.
Robbie, you talked about the learning curve some of your guys had to go through last year. It was a learning curve, I guess, for you, for Chad, for Tony, here too. How much smoother is it this year with the offensive staff intact and kind of to help Clemson move forward?
I think it's going to be really, really good for particularly, at least I hope it is, for Chad, because, he didn't know any of us. We didn't know each other, but, I think I just love his system. I love him. He's a great human being. The kids love him. I think it's going to be more fun for everybody. It won't be that caution, whether, can I say this, can I say that, and I've been doing it a long time. I've done it every way you can do it, and I just want to do what needs to be done and what they want done. I'm all for it.
Has he been receptive to suggestions
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
drawn on your experience?
Absolutely. He's been tremendous. I couldn't ask for a better guy. I sat down in a room, never met him, and I guess really nobody had. I can't remember. I don't think we talked about it. I recruited Texas for about 2 springs, and I don't know if I got by his school or not, to be honest with you. Because, Lord, I was lost on that second belt line going around Houston and everywhere. I had no idea. You know, we couldn't afford no GPS, so we didn't do nothing like that back then. But that was quite a trip.
When you bring a guy like Shatley over from defense, you kind of expect that toughness thing. But when you talk about nobody had made fewer mistakes in 32 years, that's kind of unusual.
It really is. I'm gonna tell you. I mean, but the thing that helped him, having played, you know, had he been a freshman, he couldn't have done that. He would have been fine. Don't get me wrong, but he could forget about the excitement of playing because he's been there. So he concentrated on what he wanted to do, and he got in the room. You know, he took the playbook and he got in the room and he watched it on tape, and you know, he sat down with Dalton, and when you know we could legally get together, we did, and man, he understood. He knows why we need to step with this foot or that foot. You know, he knows about, you know, if I say put your hat here or your hands here, we're trying to get leverage on this lineman. You know, he's been there. He's felt that, so to speak, getting blocked before. So, but the attitude, you know, just, yes, sir, coach, whatever we need to do. I just want to win. I mean, how can you beat that? I mean, you know, he played on defense. It wasn't like he just sat over there and was spectating. But, you know, and we had 5 seniors, boom, leave the program that quick, and Coach Sweeney recognized the need, and so it was just a tremendous fit. I never had one move over and just fit so perfectly right off the bat. And I mean, he earned his way now. It ain't like he just stepped right up there and took over. He earned his way, and the players know it.
So about how long did it take you to decide he wasn't going back to defense?
About 24 hours. I tell you. No, I knew I wanted him from day one. I just like his attitude. You know, offensive linemen, we're a little different. Everybody's whipping more. Something goes wrong, you know, they're going to all slap on us. And that's all right. We can take it, you know. In our room, we want to accept responsibility. We start with ourselves. We ain't looking for nobody to blame it on. We're going to accept responsibility ourselves. And it just takes a different person for that. You're not going to get your name called other than in a bad way. They know that. But they know they can't. It's hard to run an off-tackle play without a tackle. So.
What's your plan for Norton and Guillermo?
Well, I'd like to play one at guard a little bit, but they still haven't. They're getting their feet wet, learning, and I think Ryan Norton could probably make the quickest adjustment jumping over there. You know, Jay just 17.